Hey guys, Angela here. Welcome to another delayed Sunday chat. Can we even call this a Sunday chat because it's very delayed? Anyway, I'm in the airport leaving St. Louis on my way back to Chicago. The weekend was a lot, which is why this is a day late. I already planned to do it this way because I wanted to talk about what I'm going to post after this intro. But I ended up doing it on TikTok, so I was like, oh, I'm just going to do an intro and then post the TikTok over here on YouTube because this is about 13 minutes long, almost 14 minutes long, and I would usually post stuff like that on YouTube, but I just needed to get it out. I had to get it out because I felt like Instagram also was a platform that needed it. And then for those of you that aren't on Instagram, or for new eyes, I put it on YouTube as a Sunday chat, now Monday video, because I had a family emergency as soon as I pretty much touched down in St. Louis, and I spent all day Saturday doing that. Yesterday I was exhausted from Saturday, so then I went to the I slept all day and then went to the concert, and then now I'm headed home. So anyway, it's the gist of the conversation is about young women, or women in general, not just young women, right, but women in general, and the perpetual victimhood that women tend to play as it relates to their relationships with men. There is a lack of accountability for the things that happen to us as women that I think it's time to name and shame and stop, right? But there are things that are out of your control. In the absence of things like physical, emotional, financial abuse and things like that, right? A lot of the story times you hear, or just experiences that people talk about, are things that are in their control, right? And that doesn't mean that men can't be manipulative or liars or cheaters and all of that type of stuff, right? But usually the signs are there, right? And I go on to explain, give some examples in the video, but usually the signs are there, right? And it's not little nuances of signs or whatever. I'm talking about big blaring red signs. You're oh, it was no red flags, it was nothing, and then you tell me the story and I'm like, girl, there was a red flag from day one, right? And my hypothesis is a lot of the reason why women are missing the signs and are having a hard time in relationships is because they're desperate and they're thirsty, right? And it just is what it is. It just is what it is. And it's not me pointing and blaming and excluding myself. I am 41, almost 42 years old. I've been, like I said in the video, I've kind of always been a G, always been a player, always been I've always been a big dog. But I've also been in situations where I maybe allowed something to happen, or allowed things to happen that I know were not going to be good for me, weren't going to end well, but I just was enjoying what was going on in the situation in that moment, so I let things slide. So anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. I'm going to put the video here, and thank y'all so much for watching. Make sure you comment and subscribe, and I will talk to y'all in next week's video, and it will be a more appropriate video. I thought I was gonna get home, sit down at my sister's house, film a proper intro, and then tee up the video, but the shit got chaotic, and I mean chaotic. But thank God everybody is safe, and everybody I care about is safe, and yeah. So anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. I'll talk to y'all in the next video. Bye.
I think the time has come where I have to just temporarily stop having fun with the girls and start keeping it real. Just last week in a video in response to people's reaction to a Janae Aiko and Big Sean possible breakup, him possibly moving on, we don't really know, but I said this: I need the girls to know that nothing happens to you that you don't allow. Now, that applies to everyone, but my mission is always the girls. Now, that doesn't mean that people aren't manipulative or narcissistic, or they don't have good intentions, or they pretend to be one way and they're really another way, so you meet their representative. All of those things are true, but ultimately nothing happens to you that you do not allow. That video, I was still trying to like watch my tone and my tenor and like, you know, hold the girl's hands a little bit, because I don't want to come off as like, you know, preachy or like I got it all figured out, like I ain't never been sliding down a wall or whatever the case may be. Like, been there, done that. And this is how I'm able to like tell the stories. I mean, I ain't slid down that many walls. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I always been a big dog. Woof. Anyway, I said I was gonna stop joking. Let me stop joking. I'm finna let y'all hand go for just a little bit. And I hope that y'all still love me after this video. This was in response to a comment that was made, and this was not in response to this person in particular. That comment just had like 80 likes or so on it or whatever. And I did make sure that I said to the person that I was replying to, this isn't specifically to you, but this is just a thought that I have to get off. And I've been saying for the last couple years now, eventually I'm going to make a video to the girls that the girls may not like. Now is the time. The gist of the comment that I was responding to was basically like, oh my God, now they're gonna have all of these. And this is the video where we were talking about 7 non-sexual things that men do that we find attractive. And so sort of the sentiment was, oh my God, now they're gonna see this and they're going to just be performing. Like, they have all these ideas to be performative. We're never gonna be free. They. Right? And then somebody responded to it and was like, I was thinking the same thing. And like I said, it had all of these likes. There were other, which I'm going to try to tie this thought into. I don't know how, but hopefully we'll get there. There were other comments like, this is so like Wattpad coded and da-da-da-da-da. And, you know, like, it sounds made up. We'll get there, right? But back to this comment. I replied back to the comment where I said, I'm going to hold y'all hand. But like I said, I'm letting it go. Y'all gotta let go of the perpetual victimhood as it relates to dating and relationships with men. Y'all have to let it go. Like I said in that clip that I inserted from last week, yes, men lie. Yes, men can be manipulative. Yes to all of those things. And also, nothing can happen to you that you don't allow. Later on in that video, I go on to say, you know, putting things like physical, emotional, financial abuse aside, the vast majority of you are allowing things to happen to you and then playing victim. If you know that men are manipulative, if you know that they're performative, if you know that they lie, if all of these talking points that people make about men, right, in general, if you know all of these things, if you have the playbook, how then are you continuously getting played? More often than not, the signs are there. You hear stories all the time where there was like, people will be like, there are no red flags, there were no red flags, then they tell the story and you like, girl, what the hell? And to be fair, there are instances where I feel like you can miss the signs, or maybe the signs will go over your head, whatever the case may be. And then there are also instances where somebody's representative is really, really good. Like, the person that they like present to you is just really, really good. So I'm not saying you can't ever miss the signs. But more often than not, they be sitting right there in your face and you ignore them. You know why? This is kind of the main part. Y'all are thirsty. Y'all are thirsty to be in relationships, right? And y'all don't spend enough time thinking about the experiences you want to have in the relationship, and too much time on the timeline of the relationship, what the details look like to other people, roles within the relationship, all of that shit. Most of which is built off of what you see people talking about on the internet. Even this video, even what I'm saying, right? And you don't spend enough time thinking about experiences and how you want to feel and, you know, exist, what you want life to feel like, right? In a relationship. And not only do y'all not even think about like how you want to feel and the experiences you want to have in the relationship, y'all don't go out and have the experiences. Y'all rely on videos like this and other podcasts and talking points to build your thought process around how you should feel and experience in the experiences and stuff that you should have in relationships. I get on here and I say, young ladies, y'all need to be dating multiple men. You would think I'm telling y'all to lay down with every Tom, Dick, and Harry that you meet, when all I'm saying is you need to be having multiple experiences so that you can compare and contrast. You don't know what you like until you experience what you don't like. And you don't know what you don't like until something that you do like overshadows the thing that you don't like in the moment that it's happening. I'm finna go on a tangent. I train a supply chain like process at my job where people go in and they buy, supplies, like do requisitions, right? And a feature within that process is this compare feature where, let's say you're going in to buy one thing, we have multiple of those things in the system. There's just a little compare button. You click that up, all the facts about that thing come up, right? The amount, the units, all of that type of stuff. And then you compare and contrast and you pick the one that you like. It is easier to compare these dating experiences when they are running at the same time. You're able to say, okay, I didn't like this, I didn't like he did it, and then you put that shit in your notebook and you carry it on to the next one. But it's my personal opinion, when you are like, oh, I'm dating one person at a time, you're more likely to keep picking the same person over and over and over again. I went on to say in that video that I referenced earlier that I also feel like women give men too much control over the dating and relationship experience as a whole. And I'm not talking about head of the household type stuff, whatever. Do you? Do you? Meaning y'all spend too much time thinking about men who want to date you and not men you want to date. How men date you and not how you want to date men. You completely hand over your experience to men and then blame them when you have a terrible ass experience. I said in that video, you are the captain of your ship. I literally was listening to Summer Walker's new album, and there's a Mona Leo feature on there, and I can't remember exactly what she says verbatim. Give me a week, right? But she says something in the vein of, I'm HR, or I'm the manager. I do the hiring and firing. Why do men have so much control over your experiences romantically? You set your standards, right? You set your boundaries. You set your expectations. You determine your needs. You determine your own desires. You determine your own wants. Except y'all don't. Y'all let people on the internet set your standards and your desires and your needs and your expectations and your wants. Again, I'm going to say me because I'm also somebody on here right now talking about relationships, right? This isn't advice. This is just an observation. So then when we make videos like 7 non-sexual things that men can do to make us, whatever, y'all worry, oh, now they have to play, but they're really going to play us. I ain't worried about that, right? To bring it back to that other point where somebody was like, this is so Wattpad coded, I'm not worried about that because these are actual lived experience. This ain't no Wattpad. This ain't no made up story. These are experiences that I have had. These are lived experiences. You see what I'm saying? Raymonte. We're adding another level to this. Raymonte made a video yesterday, and I'm just repeating what he said. I'm not calling you on no host, but Raymonte said something yesterday. He said, hoes be upset because things that be happening to them don't be happening to you. And things that be happening for you don't be happening for them. So I said in a video literally the other day that I don't talk about dating and my dating experience from a personal level. Like I'll do these type of videos, but I don't share dating content in that way because I don't have time for a bunch of people on the internet to tell me how unrealistic or this or bean souping in my comments about their own experiences. Right? Because what happens to me and for me isn't happening to them and for them. But the difference between me and you is everything that I said before this part of the video. I'm the captain. I'm the captain. Men experience me on my terms. And this isn't something that was innate or that I was born with. I mean, I've kind of always been a player. I ain't gonna even lie. But seriously, right? There have been times where I have been played and played with, right? But once I had that play in the playbook, I guarantee you it'll never happen to me again. Y'all are perpetual victims. It does not make sense to me for you to know that men are performative or manipulative and continue having a circus put on in your face and continue to be manipulated. That means you then are not using your discernment. You have the knowledge, you have the tools, you're not using it. You're not interrogating anything that's happening to you. And I'm gonna wrap it up because I feel like it's getting long. And this is why I push back every time girls get on here and say, I don't care what's coming out of your mouth, it's all about what you do. In some instances that makes sense, but that's not that logic don't make sense in totality, right? Because you'll have a man come and say, I'm not ready for a relationship, I'm not looking for anything serious, right? But he taking you on dates, he whining and dining you and all that type of stuff. He said, right, that he's not looking for a relationship, but he's doing things that you associate with relationship things, right? Because you don't give a fuck about words, all you care about is actions. You forget everything that he said, because what he's doing means so much more to you, and you like what he doing more than what he said anyway. So then when you catch word that he doing that same thing with somebody else, you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? He like, I told you I didn't want no relationship. You're like, but you're doing all these things because you don't care about what he said. Because when you noticed him doing what you consider relationship things, you didn't use your brain, you didn't open your mouth, you didn't use your discernment to say, this not aligning with what he said. Now he said he want no relationship. This feel like a relationship to me. Let me address this, right? Why? Because you worried that it was gonna stop. You worried that it was gonna stop. So you continue to engage in that situation. And then when you find out that it's also going that way for somebody else, now you're mad. But you had the tools and you didn't use them. It's time to stop playing the victim, right? It's time to use your brain. Use your discernment. The very first time they do something or say something that don't rub you the right way, no, you're not. Maybe I'm tripping. No, you're not tripping. Say something. Hey, you said this. That I don't really like that. Hey, you did this. This don't match up with this. This don't make sense. Open your fucking mouth. If they get offended by it, then you know your intuition was right on the money. If your perception of the situation was wrong, be a woman and be like, my bad. I apologize. Right? This is what I heard you say. My bad. Because you won't always get it right. At the end of the day, the experiences that you have are on you. Get your ass in the driver's seat and drive that bitch.